If council don't self-report, as they should, they have an obligation, then this matter will need to go to the ERD court or perhaps even to a Supreme Court for a judicial review. Council negligence, 1990 to 1999. A proposal by developer Mark Stock and others to subdivide Crozier Hill Estate into 40 1 to 2 hectare allotments required a development plan amendment to rezone rural living 4 and to address public concerns of the development of the notorious Inman River floodplain. A long process of consultations, submissions and risk precautions led to stringent development plan amendment being approved on August 1999. The acceptance of stringent flood risk precautions were to be enforced by specific principles 1, 7 and 9 and would result in 100% of the floodplain becoming council reserve, which meant there would be no public flood risk with no developments inside the floodplain. The development application for subdivision was soon submitted and Tonkin hydrologists were engaged by the developer to develop an engineering risk precaution which would allow the sale of floodplain. It is important to note the engineer's risk precaution that was to replace the development plan principles 1, 7 and 9 began 4 months prior to the assessment of the development application to subdivide. It must be presumed it was premeditated that the engineer's solution was put into a land division agreement and would mean the specific principles 1, 7 and 9 would be ignored. The Development Act makes it clear that a land management agreement has no authority over our development plan. There is an argument if elected members had all the information, especially the clear explanation of principles 1, 7 and 9, then only elected members had the authority to approve a subdivision with such a huge variance from our development plan. On March 2000, the subdivision was approved and the developer began to sell floodplain that was intended to be public reserve as a risk precaution. Council's own investigator made it very clear Tonkins engineered a flood risk, an engineering solution for a land management agreement, nothing at all to do with the development plan. Yet current staff have insisted that this concept map and this report was for the development plan principle 7. Another lie that this map also defined the extent of the floodplain. Tonkins make it clear that it does not define the extent of the floodplain. Current staff has simply lied about this issue. 8 years I was referred to as a layperson and ridiculed. Now Council's own investigator has found that Ben Blatchford was telling the truth and it was staff that had been lying to the public for all those years. Disappointing elected members allowed this to go to an insurance company. Because elected members have failed to meet their obligation, this is going to be left to private ratepayers to take action on this, and that's what will happen. This is a sad culture that's been in Victor Harbor Council for some 20 years now, where staff simply run the whole show themselves. Elected members believe they're running it, but they're not. Because it looks like it's going to be left to ratepayers to take action on this issue, I run quickly through some transcript from the FYFE, Council's own investigator. First, Michael Osborne makes it clear that the map that staff have been putting up to use is a concept only and can't define the boundary. Principle 7 requires a proper, true floodplain map, not the Mickey Mouse maps put up by staff. I also have a letter from Planning Minister Rao. He confirms the same. YFE make it very clear that the floodplain boundary must be confirmed, it must be verified, and that needs a hydraulical assessment, a proper surveyor's map. Council have a proper surveyor's map. They've had it since 2001, 999254, so 2. Surveyor's map will do, but this is the only one in existence, so that's the one that should be used. You'll notice the true floodplain goes right across Stock Road. That means emergency vehicles have no access, and that also is illegal. Staff do not want to use this map because it has a much larger true floodplain. Shows clearly the shonky developments that have taken place by other staff before them and this current staff. 99254 was obviously on council file, as I said, from 2001. They have never used a true floodplain map. They have never verified a boundary of a floodplain. YFE brief, their scope did not get to where current staff approved subdivisions, but we were guaranteed by CEO Victoria McCurdy that she would be addressing that situation. If council believe by giving it to an insurance company, that is not addressing the situation, that is hiding it. Down to my question, it's very specific. Ask FYFE if they need map 999254, the surveyor's true floodplain map, to do any assessments. And now look at his answer. Yes, I gave the answer in terms of that if you're trying to define the extent of the floodplain, the boundary, you'll need that information. Then goes on to explain Principle 19, yes, you must have the true floodplain boundary defined. Principle 19 is important because that's the principle that allows houses, sheds, all developments along the floodplain. So there's lots of developments have happened. Houses, sheds and a subdivision of lot 25. I believe we should target the subdivision of lot 25 for council negligence because they never used any map whatsoever to verify the floodplain, and it was done by staff who have absolutely no authority to have such a variance from our development plan. Lot 25 is a much simpler case than the original subdivision. The 2018-2019 investigation should have made this blatantly clear to all elected members.